Yo, welcome back to the intermission. Um, yeah, I don't really have too much else to say about that. I don't. Yeah, I know. I've looked. I'm looking at my the things that I wrote, whatever, my articles, my blog posts, or whatever, my diaries, my entries. Yeah, my entries. We can just call that. I've noticed that I wrote a lot recently, but I haven't been like touching too much on them. So I'm thinking like maybe I start like posting a little bit more consistently, maybe like less timed videos, and then like more videos though. I don't know, quality over quantity or quantity over quality, I guess. But it is like both essentially the same type of video, whatever. But before we even get into the ones that I've written down over time, I wanted to speak about resistance. I like what is currently on my mind right now when I lit my incense and prayed, whatever, did my workout, whatever. I've been going through this very strange pattern or experience with resistance recently, and it's been very like convoluted, if you want to say that word, convoluted, if that's like the word you want to say, because it's resistance around the stuff that I want to do. You know what I mean? Like I've been trying to understand what is it that I want to be, or not more so of like what I want to be or who I want to be. It's more so how do I want to attack it and accomplish it. I put myself on this type of like time limit to where I realize that my thinking is far more negative than my thoughts. And therefore, whenever I'm caught in the realm of thinking, I'm always like impatient with reality itself in the moment in time. And that's becoming a very negative pattern that I've been seeing myself being more stuck in. It's like quicksand, when you try to move so fast and so frantically out of it, you find yourself actually getting in a way worse situation. So that's kind of like how I was feeling about with my career. But I had to, like, now that I'm sitting here and talking to you guys now, I'm really really realizing that, for example, I just said my career, so like following, and that there's something about that rings, because following the very things that you want to do and intuitively want to pursue, no matter how far out. Obviously, if it's like doing bad stuff, like don't do that. You know what I mean? Like negative attracts negative, but also positive attracts negative. You know what I mean? Like hate comes from the source itself. You know what I'm saying? So but I feel like love can be a product from hate. And I know that sounds weird, but shit can, you can grow flowers from shit. Roses come from the dirt ground, you know what I mean? So, and flowers come from that dirt ground. So, but pretty much, like, I'm building up this muscle. I've noticed that God has decided to, or the universe, or whatever you believe in, and wholeheartedly, like, devote yourself to. They gave me this trial of resistance, and they decided, since because I originally had, now that I'm looking back at it, I originally had resistance against the gym and like working out and stuff like that and doing it in the mornings, but I've become acquaintedly a lot better at, even when I'm tired in the mornings, and or after taking care of the cats, or had a long day before and woke up early, the day of, like, even when no matter how I felt, I understood that the feeling is just a feeling, and that I must like go on with the mind, you know what I mean? And sometimes following the mind too much is dangerous, and therefore there's balance in all things. And so when to listen to your heart and when to listen to your mind. But I understood that being consistent and being disciplined in this act will help me, will keep me with my muscle of discipline, pretty much, right? So naturally, when I was having resistance against going out and going and doing the gym, I was having mad resistance. I wasn't having resistance against. Sorry if you hear like stuff in the background. That's my cat playing with toys. But pretty much like having sorry having resistance against I'm gonna move the toy. Okay, I wasn't able to focus too much. Anyway, so I removed the toy. But anyways, the resistance ended up changing over to my creative actions. You know what I mean? Like doing this, for example, putting myself online, and I noticed that I was becoming a lot more tired throughout my days, relying on caffeine and more caffeine to get through the days, to or take a nap so I can actually feel okay enough to be creative and delve into the actual things that I wanted to do, into my career. And I'm realizing now that I'm going through this test of resistance to build that muscle, to see, to me it's like to see how badly I want it, you know what I mean, like to see like how deeply am I ingrained into this path that I've decided to embark on. To me it's like another weight that was plated onto my rack, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I won't be able to lift that lift that weight. You know what I'm saying? I'm building up the strength to lift that weight, so and with that, same thing with the gym. When you don't want to go to the gym or do that thing, and then when you finally do it, you're like, man, I feel great. It's the same thing as me sitting here and speaking to you now. Like I had resistance, and I knew that the resistance wasn't real, and I finally set up the candle. I've set up incense, you know what I mean. I sat down, pressed record, and now I feel good. I feel great. I feel aligned. And the whole idea of like, how am I going to like promote myself, or how am I going to approach putting myself out there, honestly, the only thing I can control is what I'm doing now. It's my actions. It's doing the effort. How it's gonna be how it responds out to the universe or out to the the internet and stuff, that's out of my control. Therefore, it should not hold a space in my mind. And I was holding on to that for the last like 2 weeks, holding on to the space of my mind. I was like researching a bunch of like things about YouTube and TikTok, and I low-key I always force myself to try to do like TikTok videos, but I just don't enjoy it. I just it just doesn't, something about it just simply doesn't align. And yeah, I always try to force myself to do it, and I don't understand why. But honestly, I do understand why. It's because I felt like I needed to follow a metric, a way of being, and I was losing touch within myself. I was losing quite literally peace. You know what I mean? Like, no way I was sacrificing my peace to gain more like eyes and variety on me. But when I'm doing this, in a way I still am like putting myself out there, but I'm also doing something that I genuinely enjoy and have peace in. And it also ties into what the other things, my other creative acts that I do. So this is a win-win. I was constantly losing on TikTok, not just views and stuff like that, rating wise, but inside I was never actually happy to do it. And then yeah, I was just never happy to do it. So why keep forcing myself to do it? You know what I'm saying? Like, the whole idea of like, oh, you gotta do this and that to get to where you want to be and get to, if that's what you believe, then that is what is. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you think that you have to bleed and sacrifice like every moment of your life to get this, to obtain this one dream or obtain this one thing, then you will bleed and sacrifice and it's like exterminate your whole life to attain that one thing, and then won't even be able to actually be in a state of being to actually enjoy it, even if you get it. So why, like what you think is will be, you know what I mean? There is reality, but there also is like your own way of playing it. Just like that one guy said, the people that made the world the way that it is now were no smarter than you. So what makes you think that you can't follow your own path, your own way of being, what feels good and intuitively, and just in general of what like gives you peace, and then just do that. Just stay in that thought, you know what I mean? And like don't think too much into it and be like, oh my god, like what if? No, like you're adding impeding and intrusive worries called, I think it's like monkey business or monkey speaking or something like that, and it's unnecessary. It doesn't add anything to the equation. It just subtracts. It just adds negative to it. So those things that you have resistance to, that are the things that you want, like you genuinely want to do, then you should do it. Like you should totally just do those things, because if you lean into it, especially if it's something that you know that you want to do, if you lean into it and find your own way of doing it in your own path, the feeling of peace and the feeling of serenity isn't enough. The action is the win. You know what I'm saying? Like the doing, you know what I mean? It's like Sisyphus, rolling up. It's like, for Christians and deeply spiritual like people, it's like carrying the cross, like you don't ever just stop carrying your cross. You always will carry your cross for the rest of your life, you know what I mean? Because you'll always be working on your soul, on yourself, and you'll always be carrying, you know what I mean, your griefs, just as like, Christ has carried his grief and carried his cross. So like you carry your cross for him as he did for us, right? So it's the same thing, like when you're on your journey to exert like for your life, you know what I mean? Like when you're in, I read the book The Alchemist recently, and it's talking about someone in a shepherd actually going on to his personal journey. Oh, sorry, his personal legend. And everybody has a personal legend, and it's your dream. It's what you know deeply intuitively what you want. And when you don't listen to it, then you live into conformity, and then you always like you suffer internally, deeply, spiritually from it, because deep down that like you always could have been that, you know what I mean, that very thing that you always dreamed of being. And somewhere along the line, someone or something in your life, you know what I mean, like told you that, convinced you that you just weren't going to be able to be good enough, or the odds were always against you. And saying that, even though that I was one of those people that felt that way too, like recently even feeling that way, I still choose me. You know what I'm saying? Like I still choose not conforming to the idea that I have to, the only way of me getting out there into, sort of get more views or whatever and grow my audience is to slave away at TikTok and remain unhappy for the rest of my life, you know what I mean? Like, and then it's like, how, I recently went to go see a personal reader, and she's great. And she recently told me this thing during our reading, this quote during our reading, and it finally just clicked with me, because I was thinking about it for a while, and it's liberating to finally figure something out, especially when someone tells you and they don't elaborate, because it's honestly up to you to understand what that person means, because then you will actually understand the lesson. But like pretty much she was saying, don't listen to the influences around you. And what she could have said was, what she said before was, she was like, you're on the right path, don't listen to the influences around you. And what she could have said was like, you're on the right path, just listen to like your intuition and keep going. But like I would have like still been on the wrong path in a way. I still would have been like listening to like, because what I was doing is I was watching like all these YouTube videos about ways to grow, be a marketer, be a better musician, and you know, listening to those videos where like they're like, stay hard, you know, like do this and that. And I was losing my authentic self because I was trying to conform into a person that I thought was successful. Boom. Right? So therefore I was not walking my actual genuine path. And yeah, that led me astray. That led me like very, very frustrated. That led me very like sad because I was so like mentally pent up because I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I suck at this fucking this TikTok shit. Like, I'm not like that great on social media. Like, I genuinely am not on it because I find my peace in not being on it. So the idea of like, my mind was so stuck and conformed that like, just because I didn't know or didn't find peace or didn't find joy in being on social media, that means that I was doomed to be a failure. But that's just a social construct. That's not actually what that, you know, that's not real. That never was real. And luckily enough, thanks to what she said and me consistently pondering on it. Mind you, I got told that like, yeah, actually exactly 13 days ago. That's really funny. Yeah, she told me that 13 days ago. And it took me 13 days to figure that out. But 13 days is like death, birth, renewal, which means like, 13 is like death, like, I don't know, death is renewal, new beginnings. And that veil is uncovered, so, you know, yeah, I don't know. I guess that's just where this video went to. That too, like this was not scripted at all, and I haven't even read any of the articles that I like wanted to speak about, but I do feel intuitively that I did need to say what I needed to say to you. Which is really cool. Which is really cool. I don't know how to explain that. That's really cool. I just sat down and pressed record, and I feel like that's more of a sign, more of a thankful, like, thank you, like, spirit for further acknowledging my topic of discussion and proving more value to my point, that when you just listen to the things that would make you joy and gives you happiness and you feel peace at, even though that at times when you're before doing it you feel that type of resistance, you should do that. And for me, that's like everything arts right now. And for me, like, that's beautiful, because therefore I'm gonna be growing so much more into the very crafts that I've been tackling all year and continuously growing at. And so, you know, I'd say bring on the resistance, you know. That's the only way I'm going to get stronger. And I think that I'm very grateful that, you know, that God in the universe, you know, like I said, whatever resonates with you. So for me, God, I'm very grateful that He acknowledged that I wanted to become stronger in these areas, and therefore gave me resistance and gave me trials to get stronger in that. I wanted to become better, so therefore He gave me more challenges and more resistance. So I'm very excited to attack on to those challenges. So yeah, which means therefore like I want to post more, I want to, you know, be on here more, I want to do this more, and to be more consistent. Most definitely be more consistent. So but other than that, I was gonna read something, but we're already at 20 minutes, and like I said, I already feel like I already said what I needed to say, and which leaves more, you know, more room for better thoughts, better discussions, I think. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know how you feel about resistance and conquering like the steps of your dreams and just intuition in general, you know, because like a lot of people don't understand that nowadays, and I'm like, you know, dancing more and more within that idea realm and seeing how it's actually being so prevalent in my life, and also how it's also like any time that I speak upon it or speak upon like ways to grow and all that stuff. Again, sorry if you hear that in the background, that's them playing with toys, cats, but yeah, just like odd people, you know what I mean? I feel like let's talk more about creativity, let's talk more about odd people, let's talk more about spiritual people, let's talk more about like religion, and let's understand why we all can't necessarily see it in the same way, but can resonate to it and feel it energetically on the same level though. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if we can, and if sense the fact that we can regulate it on the same energetic level, but it's different names like God, Allah, Buddha, the universe, spirits, like if therefore it's all like the same one energy, the is the I, you know, why, you know, can't we, where's the harmony then? You know what I mean? Where's the missing question? What's the missing piece of the puzzle due to interconnectedness to all people? I have a theory that it's ego. It's the very like blockage, the very thing between us all. You can definitely tell the difference between someone that has worked on their shadow and worked with their ego and understood their ego versus someone that is blind to their ego and reacts with their shadow all the time. So coming, and in that, for someone to be both, you have to be both, and that's the beauty of life. That's why judging is just so it's such a construct, because therefore you have to be that person to understand, to be better, to be better. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta be a piece of shit to not be a piece of shit. You know what I mean? And like, that's the beauty of it. So like, when you see someone being a piece of shit, understand that you too, in your own way, were a piece of shit to someone or somehow, and you had to learn and grow from that to not be, so you can understand other pieces of shit and not, you know, feel too negatively and bad about it, and be like, damn dog, like I understand, but like you need to grow too. So it's like evolution, you know. But I feel that's my theory on why we can't all be interconnected in one, at least not yet. But whenever we do learn, whenever society decides to actually grow and learn in that way, whenever we get bored of being pieces of shits, eventually we'll be like, man, what's what is it? I feel like there's just more than just being a piece of stinky shit. And yeah, I can't wait for that day. I know you can't wait either. But yeah, I don't know. That's it. That's it for me. Stay safe out there. The world is scary, no matter who you are. I'm just saying. Stay safe out there. And even though it is scary, there is love out there. I will like add on to that. But understand your ego, understand your shadow, understand those parts of yourselves, especially the ones that you feel like you need to deny. Do not deny them. Understand them, because they are going to control you at the lowest moments, and yeah, that's not great. So understand them. And what is else? Yeah, I'm very grateful that you woke up today. All right, I'll see you later. Ciao.